We are not even halfway through 2024, and it's already been a really big year for smartwatches. But with so many good options to choose from, it can be difficult to find the right one for you. So in this video, I want to dive into my picks for the absolute best smartwatches you can buy today, broken down by category. And at the end of this video, I'll share my perhaps surprising choice for what I wear every single day. But the categories we're talking about in this video are going to be, first of all, the best for fitness tracking. Then we'll talk about the best for non-Samsung users, and I'll explain why that category even needs to exist in the first place. We'll talk about the best looking watch, the best hybrid watch, the best battery life. Like if you don't want to charge your phone after an all-day battery of 18 hours, there's some good options out there for you. The best on a budget, the best fitness band, which is a cool category that I personally am a big fan of. And lastly, the best of the best overall. What is the best smartwatch for iOS and what is the best one for Android users? Now, with that being said, let's start off in the very first category, a watch that I like a lot. And actually, for a long time, it was my everyday watch. This is the best for fitness tracking, the Garmin Venue 3. It's a very, very accurate watch. I really like it because you have great GPS on here. You have great heart rate tracking, so it really nails the fundamentals on that aspect. But there's also a lot of really cool insights that make it ideal for anybody who's training, whether you're trying to train for a half marathon, a little triathlon, maybe you're just trying to lose weight, maybe you're lifting, whatever it might be. You have a lot of really cool things, and not just sleep tracking, but also body battery, which I find really useful to help you decide how well you're recovering, what you need to change about your lifestyle, and of course, if you maybe are coming down with a cold or something like that. They also have other cool things like fitness age that kind of gamify it and incentivize you. Like the more you work out, the lower your fitness age goes. Obviously, everybody wants to be younger, so I think that's a really big benefit there to kind of gamify it. And we also have things like health snapshots. So you can see at any given moment, if you're stressed out or something, take a little health snapshot and you can see what's going on and what the metrics are for you. There's also an ECG on here. And of course, it's a lightweight, comfortable watch with a really long battery life. Like really, really long. Like compared to an Apple Watch, you're looking at, they claim 14 days, but I've been getting at least 7 or 8 days, sometimes even 9 days out of this. Like it's a really solid watch for that. And even though this doesn't get apps like Uber on it, you can get Spotify on here, so you can have offline music, and you can sync with other apps like Strava, for example, so automatically all of your runs will sync to Strava, and I think that's a really cool thing that a lot of people will be looking for. It works with iOS and Android, and it just does fundamental smartwatch stuff. Like I said, phone calls, like timers, basic stuff that you need, but it's not going to have like Siri or Uber or anything more advanced. And this is $399, so not the cheapest, but not the most expensive from Garmin either. Kind of somewhere in the middle, maybe not affordable for everyone, but we'll talk about some cheaper ones later in the video. And in addition, if there's any sales or anything, I will have links in the description below. They are affiliate links, so if you appreciate this video at absolutely no extra cost to you, if you go through those links to purchase, I'll get a small commission, and it helps to fund my research, helps me to buy more smartwatches and make videos just like this one. Now, with that being said, the next category is the best for non-Samsung Android users. I know it sounds really, really specific, but if you are a Samsung user, Galaxy watches are just a very different watch. You have things like ECG on there and a lot of other features that Samsung restricts to only working with Samsung phones. So if you have a Pixel phone or a OnePlus phone or one of the many other Android phones out there, a Galaxy Watch might not be the best pick for you just because there are some limitations. And so my pick here for the best watch for non-Samsung Android users is actually the Pixel Watch 2. It plays nicely with everyone, and it does give any Android phone user out there ECG. You have a rotating crown, which is why I chose the Pixel Watch over the OnePlus Watch. I think having a rotation there is really nice to navigate the interface. It's a very minimal aesthetic. LTE is optional as well, so if you want to have connectivity, that's great. Google is clearly deeply integrated with this, so Google Assistant works very well. Everything that you'd expect, Google Maps, stuff like that, just works very smoothly. And this is selling at $349. Really, the only thing I would say it's missing is a slightly longer battery life, but it's pretty much on par with a lot of the other regular classic smartwatches like the Apple Watch that they'll get you through a day, maybe a day and a half, but I don't think you'll be seeing a whole lot more than that. Regardless, it's a solid watch, and I think it's a strong recommendation here. This next category is very different. It's the best looking watch, but I'm actually doubling up here. So two awards right here. The best looking watch. It's also the best hybrid watch. Hybrid watches are something that I really appreciate because you get some advantages. There are some disadvantages, but the advantages being you have analog hands on there. So it's a nicer looking watch. Even if the battery dies, it's going to be a better looking watch. And it's something that if I'm going to dress up in a suit or just anything more formal, I don't want to have an Apple Watch on my wrist or a Galaxy Watch. They're great watches, don't get me wrong, but I think if you're dressing up, I would like something a little bit more formal, and so hybrid watches do that. In addition, they also give you traditionally a much longer battery life. The downside is there's much less functionality on them, no GPS typically, but the winner in this category is the Withings ScanWatch Nova. The Withings actually makes a bunch of hybrid watches. This is their newest one, and in my opinion, by far the best looking watch. This thing is just such a premium classic watch, and people look at it, they don't even know it's a smartwatch at first. But if you press the button on the right side, you'll see the hands move out of the way, and a display on the top shows you the time, the date, the month, and if you scroll through, it'll show you your heart rate. You can see your body temperature, how many steps you took today, how far you walked, how many floors you climbed. You can even track workouts with this, and the band is very easily replaceable. In fact, in the box, they give you a silicone strap as well. So if you do want to wear this on walks or even like a run or a swim, like you definitely could do that. It's not going to be ideal, like I said, for more intense workouts because it is a slightly heavier watch, and I mean, it's made out of stainless steel, so that's kind of to be expected, which is nice. It feels premium, but not ideal for workouts. And of course, like obviously it doesn't have GPS on here, but it does quite a bit of other stuff on here as well. You have an ECG, you can track your blood oxygen, you can do little breathing meditation workouts. There are timers and stopwatches, and just like a surprising amount that they fit in such a small little watch like this. And the associated app on your phone actually gives you a lot of insights. Additionally, this works with both iOS and Android. You're getting a claimed 30 days of battery life. Sometimes I've even had more than that, depending on how much you use it. And I mean, notifications, stuff like that. It's a cool watch. I think a lot of people don't know about hybrid watches, and maybe if you are watching this video and you're in that group, this could be the perfect watch for you. But it's definitely not for everybody. Now, speaking of longer battery life, maybe you want to have a smarter smartwatch, not like a hybrid watch, but you still want to have more than like a 1-day battery life. And so my pick here, I know there are some that give you like a very long battery life, but kind of the best balance between battery life and the smarts has to be the OnePlus Watch 2. They did a really cool thing. They had some kind of a little trick in here where they have two processors. So the dual chip architecture of this has, on one, you have the Snapdragon W5 chip, which is very fast, very powerful, pretty much the most powerful out of any Android smartwatch out there. And you have a second chip on here, which is a lot more efficient, much less demanding, and it's going to be great for background tasks. And so they claim that gives you up to 100 hours of battery life. For my testing, I'm pretty comfortably getting about 3.5, maybe even up to 4 days of battery life with this watch. So not far off from their 100-hour claim. And like it's still doing everything you'd expect. It's a full-blown Wear OS watch. The only limitation that I wish this had was a rotating crown or rotating bezel. But other than that, this is a fantastic smartwatch that I like in basically all regards. It's accurate. It also has dual band GPS, which most other watches of this class do not have. So that should give you much more accurate GPS, especially if you're in like a mountainous situation or more like buildings around you. Having dual band can make a pretty big difference. This comes in two different colors. And of course, the straps, again, are very easy to replace. There's a 1.43 inch always on display on the front. So the bezel is not microscopic, but it's significantly smaller than a lot of the competition out there. And I mean, this is made by OnePlus, so it's no surprise that they're giving us some other cool specs on here, like significantly more storage. You're getting 32 gigabytes of storage on here, so you can store basically as much music as you want, downloaded from Spotify or other apps out there as well. And that's going to be great for running or just walking around, whatever. Connect your earbuds to the watch and you never have to bring your phone with you. Now, this is $299. The only downside, like I said, is that it doesn't have a rotating crown. And if you really care about it, it actually doesn't have ECG either. Kind of two small drawbacks there, but a really solid watch. And if you can find a sale on this, it's a really strong recommendation. The battery life, the specs, like OnePlus did a great job here. Moving along to the next category, the best on a budget. So all the watches I showed you so far were definitely not cheap watches, but if you want a full-blown smartwatch and you want to spend less money, this is the category for you. If you want to spend even less than that, I'll talk about that in the next category, but the best on a budget, depending on if you are Android or iOS, the answer's here. The best for Apple is going to be the Apple Watch SE. the best for Android, in my opinion, is the Galaxy Watch 4. Now, these are both selling at really a pretty big discount now because they're actually both about 2 years old. The Galaxy Watch 4, I think, is a little bit older. So you want to kind of be aware that these will be getting updates for, like, I think the Galaxy Watch gets its last major update in 2025, so that by 2026, it's going to be out of date. It'll probably still be usable for another year, but if you're cool with getting like 2 to 3 years out of a watch, maybe more, maybe you can get 4 years out of it, then it's a great buy. For the most part, the Apple Watch SE is the same story, and both of them do a lot of what you're seeing in the flagships. Like, there's not a whole lot of difference in the past couple of years in smartwatches and their evolution. But talking about something even cheaper, even smaller, even more subtle, with an even longer battery life, this is the best fitness band. Little fitness trackers kind of are what started the smartwatch kind of movement, but they're also one of the best things, in my opinion, for people who just want to start losing weight, or maybe they want something smaller that they can track their sleep with, or maybe they just want something that's very affordable. And my pick for the best fitness band is none other than the Xiaomi Mi Band 8. This should be working pretty well with iOS and Android. So the Mi Band 8, I've been using it with an Android phone. I bought the global version on Amazon. It's about $40 to $45. The price varies a little bit, but again, I'll put a link down below to that. Just some specs on it though. It's a 1.62-inch display, so way larger than the old Mi Bands used to be. In addition, they kind of changed things up, and not only can you wear it as a fitness strap, you could take the straps off and use it in like pebble mode for like running, for example, is kind of what they said with that. In addition, you have a 16-day battery life with this, and it's still doing all the staples you'd expect. It'll show you the weather through your phone. It's going to be connected by Bluetooth, of course. It also shows you have timers on here, you have remote shutter, you have all types of different things that you would expect from a smartwatch, like the bare bone essentials, notifications, for example, quick replies. All of that is working on this device much like a regular smartwatch would, but it's just trimmed down. And in the past, my testing has always showed that Mi Bands were surprisingly accurate for heart rate. Now, without a GPS on there, it's going to be using the GPS on your phone, so I can't give you an exact estimate of that. Depends on what phone you're using with how accurate that is, but it's just pretty nice. For $45 to get most of what a smartwatch does, I think that's a pretty big win here. Now, if you don't want to get the Mi Band, maybe you just don't like Xiaomi, maybe you don't like the design of it, whatever it is, Samsung actually has a really great one as well, the Samsung Galaxy Fit 3. And this is one I've made a video about, I think about a couple weeks ago when it first came out. This device, again, does all that same stuff. It's basically like the old Galaxy Watch Active. It's kind of like that one right there, but it's more of a rectangular design. I personally really like it. There were a couple little quirks when it first came out, which is why I said the Mi Band is my choice for this category, but assuming we have some software and firmware updates, the Galaxy Fit 3 is really a great choice here as well. And now, before the final category of this video, I want to add one little category in here, the top smartwatch alternatives. These are going to be ideal for health and sleep tracking. Anybody who maybe you don't want to wear like a larger watch while you sleep, maybe you just care about a long battery life and you still want all the benefits of tracking. There's two great options that I've used and honestly consistently use quite a bit. One is the Whoop strap. This is the Whoop 4.0, and so it's kind of hard to explain. When you first see it, you're probably going to say, like, why would I ever wear a watch that doesn't even tell me the time? And I agree. I wish this told me the time. But it's actually so much lighter and so much more comfortable, especially when you're sleeping, than any smartwatch. And I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if it is just like the ergonomics of the shape of it, if it's because it's a low profile, if it's because of the strap, whatever it is. I can sleep with this and have basically no discomfort, no idea that it's even on my wrist. Whereas many other smartwatches, I do have a tendency to take them off in my sleep. I wake up and the watch is just like gone somewhere in my blankets. This absolutely never has that happen. But if even this is too uncomfortable for you, or if you just want something even more subtle, you can get an Oura Ring. And both of those devices do a lot of the same stuff. They're going to track your heart rate. They're going to track your blood oxygen levels. They're going to track your heart rate variability while you're sleeping. They can track like your basic movement throughout the day, your body temperature, and really kind of give you a big picture of what's working in your fitness and your daily routine and what you can possibly improve on. In the apps, they show a lot of fantastic insights, and Whoop actually has a little AI thing in there where you can ask questions. You could say like, how can I improve my heart rate variability at night? Or like, how do I compare to other people of my demographic in my age group? And it'll kind of give you an idea of what numbers are good, what numbers are bad, where you can improve. It's a cool thing. Like, I personally am a big fan of both of those. And so like I will wear a smartwatch, and a lot of times I'll wear this on my other wrist, as well as possibly wearing an Oura ring as well. They both work with iOS and Android also. So that's kind of why you start to see these a lot more among like the big fitness crowd. You know, you look at the people who are like super athletes, they're usually wearing either a Whoop or an Oura ring, and they might have like a Garmin watch or something on the other wrist. And a lot of celebrities, surprisingly, are wearing these as well. But that brings me into the final category, the best overall. Starting off with iOS, this one's a little bit easier. Technically, the Apple Watch Ultra is the best, but I think for most people, the Apple Watch 9 is actually the best pick for you. The Apple Watch Ultra is definitely a bit larger and a lot more expensive, so I think for most people out there, the Apple Watch 9 is just going to be a fantastic watch all around. It's really good for sleep tracking, really good for heart rate tracking, really good for GPS. It has Siri on there. Anything you could do with your iPhone, you can basically do with your Apple Watch. There's a reason Apple hasn't changed a lot about the design, and that is because the Apple Watch kind of just nails it. Like, it's doing basically everything right, and every single year, it's just iterative improvements that give you a better and better experience, as subtle as it may be. Now, I used to say the Apple Watch SE was the best for most people who are using iPhones, but I think now you're kind of at a break even where it might be worth it to spend the extra money and get the 9. So the Apple Watch SE came out in September of 2022. It's likely not going to be supported as long as the Apple Watch 9. So for example, if you get 3 more generations out of the Apple Watch SE, so like 3 years, but 5 generations out of the Apple Watch 9, then $250 versus $400, each one works out to be about the same cost per year. And the Apple Watch 9 is clearly a superior watch. So from like a cost perspective, it's still kind of worth it to get the 9 unless you want to wait for like a 3rd generation Apple Watch SE. But regardless, the Apple Watch 9 is my pick, best overall for iOS users. Now, for Android, this one's very interesting. I actually say I personally am a really big fan of the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. I mean, the other watches are great, right? Like the OnePlus Watch 2, really strong competitor, better battery life, but no rotating bezel for the UI. Additionally, the Pixel Watch, I like that, but the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic gives you a slightly longer battery life, and it does give you that nice rotating bezel, more of a classy appearance, and a lot of other really cool things that are, like Samsung spends more effort in their ecosystem, and with that, you are getting some benefits in the interface that I think kind of make it worth it. Now, finally, the kind of maybe surprising choice of what I wear every day, I have actually been wearing 2 devices in particular. For the past several months, I've been wearing a ScanWatch on one wrist. So the Withings ScanWatch Nova, I've been wearing pretty much every day. I just really like how it looks. It tells me the time. It gives me notifications, nails the basics like that. And then on my other wrist, I'm wearing a Whoop strap. I'm actually wearing a Whoop because I just like how it tracks my sleep. I like how comfortable it is. It's very subtle. And especially if you're wearing long sleeves, it's not weird to have 2 devices. If I'm ever dressing up, I'll take the Whoop off, I guess. Or if I'm like, I don't know. Typically, I'll wear both. I think it's very comfortable, and it actually serves me very well. So leave a comment below and let me know which one you like best, as well as any other potential watches coming out that you'd like me to review. Since you enjoyed the video, I recommend subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.